I'd like to talk a little bit about how we developed this microphone for Mainstream Source. I've been a professional singer for 45 years. In my recording studios, we always used the best microphones, and there's so many effects you can put on a vocal in the studio. Compressors, limiters, gates, de-essers, the list goes on and on. But the two major things that we always go for are reverb and delay to a certain extent. Reverb is that reverberation that you can add to a vocal that makes it bigger, that makes it sound fuller and more pretty. And delay was always added kind of as an afterthought, as something to sort of bring out the depth of the vocal. Fast forward to the early 2000s, I became a developer for Yamaha Corporation of America. In my job at Yamaha, the main task was to work on the finest keyboards and pianos that they had, creating songs for their keyboards that sounded as close to possible as the actual recording itself. So we would literally listen and go track by track, choosing all the different instruments and vocals and programming those digitally onto a keyboard. Now, one of the biggest challenges at Yamaha was they wanted us to take these beautiful works of art, these keyboards we were working with that had all the bells and whistles, and they wanted us to program songs that would still sound as good as possible on their least priced models. And that was our challenge, because you didn't want to dumb down the sound of the song. You just had to figure out a way to make it sound good on any one of their instruments. A couple years ago, a friend of mine got a wireless microphone similar to this as a gift for me, kind of as a party gift. They didn't expect for me to use it professionally. It was just for fun. But the first thing I noticed when I looked at that microphone were actually two things. One, the control panel on the microphone looked like it was really difficult to figure out. So it was going to take a little bit of a learning curve. And the other thing was that when I actually turned it on and started singing from it, there was one big effect called echo. And it literally sounded like you were singing through a tunnel. It just was terrible. It was almost like, why bother? And so I thought, well, maybe I could develop a microphone based on my experience at Yamaha that would basically take the best parts of the sound and make them still sound as good as possible on a lesser priced microphone. So when I started to design this microphone, I realized that the $1,000 microphones we were working in the studio didn't have the kind of insides that this microphone has. And also the actual chip that they used in these microphones didn't really allow for adding too much more to what was already there. So the first thing I did was upgrade it to a DSP chip, which allowed me to separate the reverb and the echo. And then I developed this new control panel that makes it way more user-friendly. So instead of this one big muddy sound, you actually get a chance to separate the reverb from the delay. And another thing we did just kind of for fun was on the echo or delay slider, if you start low, you get a longer delay than if you move it up. It kind of turns into a shorter delay. So it gives you a couple of options. Now, when we changed the face of the microphone to make it more user-friendly, we also added a user manual that comes with each microphone. And so it kind of has step-by-step instructions on how to do everything. And we're also working right now on translating this manual into different languages. And finally, we decided to design a carrying case that was kind of a hard case that will protect the microphone and the cables that go with it. Now, this also comes with a really nice zipper and a clip if you decide you want to clip it onto anything. Just like in my Yamaha job, I figured out how to take a much less expensive microphone and make it about as good as you can make it sound, and to make it as user-friendly as possible. This microphone is a much lesser priced microphone than anything I would use in the studio, but it still has a very good sound for its price.
This microphone also has some pretty cool sound effects using the effects button. Here, I'll show you.
Magic sound 1.
This one makes me sound like a baby. This one sounds like I'm harmonizing with myself. This one makes me sound like an alien.
We come in peace.
This one makes me sound like a monster.
We hope you enjoy this mic as much as we did designing it.